Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone joining us from different parts of the world. And what you just have watched is all about our second conference, QLRC second conference. Okay, so welcome to another insightful session hosted by Qualitative Research Connect. And today's webinar is entitled Doing Hermeneutic Phenomenology. Dr. Arceli Rosario is the president of the Adventist University of the Philippines. She co-edited with Dr. Safari Wambaleka the Sage Handbook of Qualitative Research in the Asian Context and wrote book chapters for Sage and other publishers. She served as president of the Asian Qualitative Research Association and is the president of the Adventist Human Subject Researchers Association Asia chapter. She has conducted numerous trainings on qualitative research designs, one of which is phenomenology. Hence our topic for tonight. Let us all welcome Dr. Arceli Rosario.
Hey, greetings to everybody. Can you hear me clearly? Please give me a thumbs up, Dr. Safari, if you can hear me clearly. Can you? It's my pleasure to share with you this topic, how to do hermeneutic phenomenology. So we talk of phenomenology and usually we think of, at least here in Asia, we have introduced transcendental and hermeneutic. But today I'm going to talk about hermeneutic. But let us define phenomenology. What is phenomenology? And here, the main goal of phenomenology is to describe a phenomenon, as to consciousness, the science of describing what one perceives, senses, and knows in one's immediate awareness and experience. According to Miriam, it is a study of people's conscious experience of their life world. Another way of saying conscious experience is lived experience. And we have here the word life world. It refers to a person's innermost thoughts and feelings. It's a space that is very private. And so for hermeneutic phenomenology, as I said, the focus is on description and interpretation of participants' experiences. Let me proceed to the 6 hermeneutic research activities. Number 1 is, as a researcher, we turn to the nature of lived experience. So the question is, what type of phenomena do we study when we use hermeneutic phenomenology? So according to Van Manen, it is a commitment to turning to an abiding concern, thinking a single thought more deeply, a deep questioning of something. And Van Manen says that it can be an ordinary phenomenon like being a father, being a mother. So these are everyday experiences that on the surface may not really appear phenomenal or spectacular, but someone may want to think about this deeply, and that someone may ask the question, what is it like to be a mother? What is it like to be a father or a teacher? So these phenomena may appear ordinary, but a researcher may want to engage himself or herself into a deep questioning of that phenomenon. The second step is investigating the experience as lived. How is an experience lived? We live an experience through our senses, right? In terms of how we feel, in terms of how we relate with others, in terms of time, of space. So we look at the experience in all its modalities and aspects. The third step is reflecting on essential themes. And again, Van Manen says, bringing into nearness that which tends to be obscure, meaning bringing something to the forefront, to our attention, to our awareness, to our consciousness, something that tends ordinary or even insignificant, something that tends to evade the intelligibility of our natural attitude of everyday life. So we focus on what makes this experience or this phenomenon of special significance. That's what we want to investigate. The fourth one is describing the phenomenon through writing and rewriting. When we do phenomenology, one of the challenging parts, or we say the exciting part, is really the putting into words or capturing into words the experience. And sometimes that can really be challenging. And therefore, there is this process of writing and rewriting until we are able to capture the experience in its different varieties and shapes and intensities. Number 5 is maintaining a strong and oriented relations. That is, to be oriented to an object means that we are animated by the object or the phenomenon in a full and human sense. Therefore, to be strong in our orientation means that we will not settle for superficialities and falsities. In step number 1, you notice there the word deep questioning, searching for a deeper, fuller understanding of an experience. Therefore, that's why Seidman introduced the phenomenological interview, where you do not engage with your participant only once, but can be even 3 times or more, because we are searching for the deep answers to our questions. And number 6 is balancing the research context by considering the parts and whole. This is now the time when we connect the phenomenon under study with the larger context of knowledge. So how do we make sense of this phenomenon the way we see it through our participants in terms of how this phenomenon is understood by other scholars or also by other people? So when we conduct phenomenological, especially hermeneutic phenomenology, the central questions are, number 1, we ask the participants, what is it like for them to experience the phenomenon? So our research questions can be, what are the lived experiences? In this case, the participants in our study, I had this study with two colleagues. We conducted a study with teen mothers. So the research question can be, what are the lived experiences of teen mothers? Or we can say another way, what is it like to be a teen mother? And the other question, because you see, the goal of hermeneutic phenomenology is number one, to describe. We want to describe. That's why we say, what is it like? So that's description. The second one is about interpretation or making sense of the experiences. So we can formulate a research question this way. What meaning do teen mothers ascribe to their lived experiences? Now, some of my students ask, is it okay to have only two research questions for a dissertation? What if I'm doing a dissertation? Is it acceptable that I have only two research questions? My answer to that is yes, because this in itself is not an easy work. Okay, so at IAS, where I taught some years ago, it's acceptable to have only two research questions because that's the totality of the focus or the purpose of hermeneutic phenomenology. So for our sampling strategies in hermeneutic phenomenology, we can do purposive or purposeful sampling or snowball sampling. Now, what are our data sources for hermeneutic phenomenology? Number one, we conduct phenomenological interview. And for me, this is the main source of data. Another is we can also do observation, although there are phenomena that may be difficult to observe. For example, if you are studying domestic violence, I think it's not advisable for you to observe domestic violence, right? It's very difficult. And I would say you forgo observation. The other one is experiential descriptions in literature. I will give you an example later on how to do this one. Number four is art-based data, or we call it aesthetic portrayal. So those are our data sources. Now, I mentioned Seidman. He introduced the phenomenological interview with three phases. The first phase, the focus is on the past experience with a phenomenon. So participants reconstruct their early experiences. So that's description of the past experience. The second phase is focus on the details of the experience on the phenomenon. So the purpose is to concentrate on the concrete details of the participant's experience. So that's the description of the present experience. And the third phase, this is now the time when we ask our participants to reflect on the meaning of their experience. So during this time, our participants will look into the intellectual and emotional connections between their life and their work. So now, one question is, how do I capture the experience? Van Manen also gave samples of interview questions in a sample study that he included in his book. That was a study on keeping secrets. The study was about how did children perceive keeping secrets when they were still children, and the study was done when they were already young adults. But I also suggest that we can use the interview framework of Mostakas. So Mostakas is the proponent for transcendental phenomenology. What I like with this framework is it is structured. That's the reason that I advise my students that even though they're using hermeneutic phenomenology, they may use also the interview framework of Mostakas. So that you see here, there are 7 questions that capture the description of the experience. But you see, I modified the framework of Mustakas. Instead of 7, I added 2 because, okay, I will go back. You see here in number 1, there are 3 main concepts lumped together. What dimensions, incidents, and people intimately connected with the experience stand out for you? So what I did was I separated dimensions, incidents, people, because when I sent my students out to do the phenomenological interview, they came back and said, our participants are confused. So we simplified. So we said, what dimensions or aspects of your life? Number 2, what incidents? And number 3, who were the people? So we just split interview question number 1 into 3 interview questions. So these are the interview questions. As you can see, this one, the phenomenon here is dissertation writing. So what dimensions or aspects of your life intimately connected with your dissertation writing stand out for you? What incidents intimately connected with your dissertation writing stand out for you? Who were the people intimately connected with your dissertation writing stand out for you? Then how does your dissertation affect you? What changes do you associate with your dissertation writing? How does your dissertation writing affect significant others in your life? What feelings are generated by your dissertation writing? How are those feelings generated? What thoughts stand out for you? How are those thoughts generated? What bodily changes or states are you aware of during your dissertation writing? And have you shared all that is significant with reference to your dissertation writing? Now, with these 9 interview questions, the researcher is able to capture you remember, the whole aspect, the modalities, the deep thoughts and feelings of the participants about the phenomenon. Now, here's a question. How do you know that the data is a good phenomenological data? Okay, here. You know that the first person experiential accounts. It's rich, concrete, descriptive, include sensory, emotional, temporal, and relational details focused on a specific phenomenon, and captures experience before it is interpreted or theorized, meaning it is fresh and pure, not contaminated by explanation or theorizing. Okay, so here I want to ask you, you read this one, and the question is this a good phenomenological data? Okay, I'll give you 1 minute, and then you give me a thumbs up if you think it is a good phenomenological data. Okay? Okay, or maybe I can show you the next slide. The other slide is this. So it's another account. So it's the same question. Okay, so you read this. All right. So we go back to the first slide and give me a thumbs up if it's a good phenomenological data, or a thumbs down when it is not a good phenomenological data. Okay, are we ready? All right. So now give me your golden thumbs up and thumbs down. Or just your sign is okay. Okay? All right. Ready, go? Are you ready? Can you decide, or is it difficult to decide? Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Okay. I'm seeing a thumbs down. All right. So, here's a thumbs down. Let me go now to the second slide. So, same question. Give me a thumbs up if you think this is a good phenomenological data. Ready, go. Okay. Okay. Uh-huh. Thumbs up. Yes, yes, I'm seeing a thumbs up. Yes. The answer is, you see, this one here is not a good phenomenological data. Do you know why? There is no rich description of the phenomenon, and there is theorizing. There is explanation here. You notice that? But here, as you see, there are okay, there's the sound. Where's the sound here? Bang, crack of a rifle. How about smell? Is there smell here? Pungent aroma. How about feeling? Warm tones and hues. You see? So how about for the sight? Oh, you have ash blue sky and morning bite of coolness on the cheeks. So these are senses, sensual descriptions. So this one is a good phenomenological data. So when you gather data and your participant is sharing you this, then you know you are getting good phenomenological data. Now, I mentioned to you experiential description in literature. One of my students is doing a study titled Work-Life Balance of Participants to View Two Movies. The other one is The Devil Wears Prada, and the other movie is Grace of Monaco. So her participant viewed these movies, and then she asked them these questions down below. You see there, what are the most significant lines that you find in the movie? Why do you find them significant? What are the scenes that speak to you most regarding work-life balance, and why? All right, so you see, I was doubtful because her participants were women university presidents. But surprisingly, I was very pleased that her participants were very cooperative. They viewed the two movies, and they even said that they enjoyed the two movies. The other is, this is an example of how we collect arts-based data or aesthetic portrayal. Uh, these are these instructions that we give, and our participants can either take photos or draw or create a poem or song, or they can sing or they can recite their poem. So that's aesthetic portrayal, and they explain also the meaning of their art production. Now, how do we analyze hermeneutic phenomenological data? So number one here is holistic reading. That is the time when we read. And here I gave her examples from Van Manen about keeping secret. So we read the text several times until we have a full grasp of our participants' experience. The next is selective or highlighting approach. Looks like very similar to the other data analysis frameworks, right? Where we highlight words or phrases or statements or even paragraphs that we find relevant to answer our research question. Then the next one is detailed or line-by-line approach or coding. This is now the time when we give a word, a phrase to describe or to capture what our participants themes. Now, this is what makes hermeneutic phenomenology interesting, because of the way that we organize our themes. Here, we organize by our themes by corporeality, materiality, speciality, temporality, and relationality. And the last one is coming up with an explicit structure of the meaning of the lived experience or essence. Now, let me show you. If you have an orange, how do you describe an orange? By the way, Darren, how many minutes do I have? Is
Still,
it still good?
yes, ma'am.
Still good? I still have time.
Yes,
Yeah. Suppose I ask
25
you
minutes.
to describe an orange. How do you describe an orange? Well, you said, I will describe An orange by its color, correct? By its shape, by its texture, by its smell, by its taste, right? So the question is, how do we describe an experience? Do we describe a phenomenon? Well, that is easy. Van Manen has given us this framework. We can describe a phenomenon through the essential existential elements of a life world. So what are the existential elements of a life world? Here, speciality, that is referring to the structure of space. Materiality, referring to the structure of things. Corporeality refers to how our body feels or reacts towards the phenomenon. Temporality refers to the structure of time, and relationality refers to the structure of relationships. So that's how we describe an experience or a phenomenon. Now, when I conduct training on phenomenology, the question is it really possible that our participants can uh, have a description of their phenomenon in its fullness, meaning there's a description regarding space, regarding things, regarding bodily reactions, time, and relationships? And my answer to that is yes, because based on our study, always that phenomenon is experienced in its fullness based on these existential elements of a person's life world. So here I give you the description and example of the life world elements here. So relationality means lived other, and that's the relationship of the person with self and with others. And I found out, because here, particularly in the Philippines, we are a Christian country, always our participants refer to their relationship with God. No? So corporeality is the lived body. That's the reaction of the body towards the towards the phenomenon. Speciality is the lived space, temporality, lived time, and materiality means lived things. So let me proceed now to an example. I got this study when I served as an editor of that the title of the book was challenges and opportunities of qualitative research, something like that. And this one is a study, a hermeneutic phenomenological study. And the authors presented their findings this way. So the phenomenon was chronic kidney disease. So this is, as you see, the title is Living with Chronic Kidney Disease. This is an example of an abiding concern. Do you remember in step number 1 on hermeneutic research activities? It's a study of an abiding concern. Living with chronic kidney disease is an abiding concern. It's there. You want to get out of it, but it's there. And then here are the 5 existential elements of the life world. So temporality, there are 3 themes there. Materiality, 1 theme. Corporeality, 2 themes. Relationality, 3 themes. And speciality, there are 2 themes. Now, this assures us that the experience, there is fullness, there is complete, there is, in when we study the life world of our participants. Now, this example was a study that I did with the Asian Qualitative Research Association team, the ACRA team. This was, I think, we acted to 10 months after the Ukraine-Russia war. So our study was focused on the Adventist humanitarian service providers during the war. Some of them provided food, others shelter, others even evacuated. No, they provided transportation. So different types of humanitarian services. As you have the different themes, okay? So just want to show to you that this is the way we analyze our data when we use hermeneutic phenomenology. Now, the second research question in hermeneutic phenomenology is meaning making. We ask our participants how they make sense of their experience. These themes here were the results of the questions on how the Adventist humanitarian service providers made sense of their experiences. You see, they were in the middle of the war zone. No? They risked their lives, and their families, most of them, sent their families out of Ukraine. By the way, the setting was Ukraine. They sent out their families to different countries like the UK and the US, and they were the only ones left there. And so we asked them, how do you make sense of this experience? So these were the themes that came out. Service is a lifestyle. It is a way of life. Service is a calling. It is God's invitation. Service is readiness to die for others. Service is living the gospel. The gospel is action. Service is being an instrument of hope. And you know, one of our participants, when we did, by the way, we did our interview through online, and one of our participants at the time, he opened the window and he said, "It is winter here, and I want to show you that the buds in the trees are now coming up." And so this is how he explained, this picture that he gave us. By the way, this was his aesthetic portrayal. So his explanation, "I think of the beginning of springtime when buds open, sprout on the trees. It really happens now outside of my window. Yes, after winter time. Trees stand without leaves, and just now buds begin to open. Leaves will appear. And what I'm thinking about is it is our duty to help people after hard circumstances, after this winter period in life, in order to kindle life in our brothers and sisters, the citizens of our country. The green leaves will appear, and the people will understand that life continues, that we always have hope for something better." So the essence, now in hermeneutic phenomenology, or even in transcendental, instead of using the term conclusion, we use the term essence. So essence now is like the gist, or the distilled idea. So here is a sample. Adventist humanitarian service providers have inherited a legacy of service from their parents and grandparents. They give because it is their way of life. It is to them a calling to give their lives for others, and if needed, to die as Jesus died for them. They experience intense, enduring emotions, mixed, fleeting emotions. They honor pain as they see it in others, but they postpone pain as they experience it. They realize that kindness is reciprocal and that God orchestrates the meeting of people, which is life-changing, not only to the receiver, but more so to the giver. So here, and this is an example of essence, and I have here the recommended reading, the books of Mustakas and the 2 books of Van Manen. So here I am done with my presentation. Now back to you, Darren. Give me a little time to just stop sharing.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Arceli, for a very edifying topic on doing hermeneutic phenomenology. So may I request, and I can already see some questions on the chat box, to write your questions through the chat box with your name and where you are from so that we can acknowledge you. And you may also write the institution you are affiliated with or the country. So while you are writing, let me share to you a video clip.
Welcome. We're truly glad you're here. If you found your way to Quali Bay, it's because you're ready for more depth, more clarity, and more confidence in qualitative research. You are not just learning methods. You are stepping into a global community of scholars who take qualitative inquiry seriously and who want their work to matter. At Quali Bay, our courses and expert certificates are intentionally designed for you, the emerging scholar, the experienced researcher, the mentor, the teacher, the practitioner. Here, you don't just study qualitative research, you learn with the very scholars who shaped the field. The names you've seen in textbooks and journal articles, they're now your instructors, accessible, engaging, and committed to your growth. And the best part? World-class learning at a fraction of the cost, without compromising academic rigor or global recognition. This is your moment. Explore the courses, discern what you need next, select your path and register today. And don't come alone. Invite your colleagues, your students, your research partners and classmates. Together, we are shaping the future of qualitative research with integrity, excellence, and purpose. If you have questions, we're here for you. And if you're ready to grow, to be recognized, and to belong, welcome to Quali Bay.
May I request Dr. Safari to give us some moment to launch this?
Thank you so much. Congratulations to Dr. Rosario. That was a powerful presentation. I mean, phenomenology is one of her babies. She has so many babies in qualitative research. The first one, of course, is photo voice. And this one is her second. I don't know which one is the first baby, but congratulations. Very, very well presented and very rich in information. Today is a special day, not only with that powerful presentation, but also we're launching another baby, another qualitative research baby. And I want you to click on that link of our website so that I can quickly walk you through this. It will take 2 to 3 minutes and you'll know exactly what is happening. Once you click on our website, you will get to this place. Click on those three dots there, and you'll see a place called Quali Bay. Today we are launching Quali Bay, and this is in line with what we were telling you earlier, that we are going to start a micro credentialing program today. I mean this year. And the first class is ready. The good news that it's free for all the active qualitative research members. If you are not a member, this is your time. You can just click on membership and you can become a member. But if you don't want to become a member, you can still learn. Once you click on Quali Bay right here, it will take you to this page. And you can watch that same video clip. For some reason, it was not showing the speaker properly, but you can watch it here. And down here, when you scroll down, you'll see a long list of courses. Right now, the one that is available to you is the first one, and this is the one that is free for all the active qualitative research members. If your membership has expired, please renew it. And once you do that, please email us. You're going to receive, all the members are going to receive an email message asking you to claim a code that will give you free access to this class. So we have a number of courses. And these courses are individual courses. You can just decide to take one class. Right now, each course is 50% off for everybody, whether you're a member or not. But if you're a member, you get the first one for free. We have classes on quality research publication, quality research teaching and training. We have data collection. applied qualitative data analysis, qualitative, trustworthiness and ethics. This is coming out soon. By the end of this month, we should be ready. We have some more here. Conceptualizing qualitative research, a research conference presentation, and then we'll have many different certificates. If you want to know more about the different certificates, then you click on About. The About, it will tell you the exact certificates of completion are here. And then if you want to become known as an expert, you can become a qualitative researcher one. That is the first course that is being offered right now. So if you complete that, you'll be classified as qualitative researcher one. You can become 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the highest level. By the time you finish qualitative research, you are qualitative researcher number 7. Probably you are ready to start giving trainings on qualitative research. You already know how to publish qualitative research, advising students, and doing peer review of journals in qualitative research. And then you have more specialized certificate, like you want to be a certified high school teacher of qualitative research, certified thesis and dissertation advisor, certified qualitative research methodologist, and the list goes on. You can find all the information there. And if you want to contact us, you can use that, or you can use the email address that you have you saw when you registered for this message, and you'll be receiving more communication about this. So I want to welcome you to Quali Bay, and we'll all grow together, learn together. Please share the word with your colleagues, your students, your friends. Let's become qualitative research experts. Back to you, Dr. Darren.
Okay, may I request everyone to just use the chat box for your questions. And we have the first question from Nelmar Salazar. Hello, Doc Arceli. Is it true that staying in an illuminated path, like hermeneutic circling by Gadamer and Heidegger, provide good phenomenological data? Or may I ask the principle of phenomenological positionality of this as contrary to Ponti, Mustakas, and Husserl?
Yeah, okay. The difference between Mostaka's phenomenology, that is transcendental, and hermeneutic, that is by Van Manen. One is the idea of bracketing. How
Dr. Arceli, your microphone is off. Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm saying when we think of the researcher's position, there's a difference between transcendental and hermeneutic, because in transcendental, the claim is that it is possible. One feature is that the researcher should bracket himself or herself. And I have to admit that some scholars and researchers have a problem or find this concept challenging. Like the question is it possible really for a researcher to bracket himself or herself? What do we mean by bracket? It's like you remove yourself so that your bias or your own understanding or your own experience with a phenomenon does not contaminate the data. So that I remember when I did my dissertation, I was at the time vice president for academic affairs, and I was studying women university presidents. So the advice given me was, it's difficult for you to bracket because their experience may also be your experience. However, with Van Manen, uh, his idea is that, for example, you are a mother and you study about what it is like to be a mother. That can be accommodated. Or for me, like I'm a woman leader, I can study also women leader. That I do not need to bracket. I only have to declare my positionality. I have to make my reflexivity statement and say, that this is who I am. I am a woman leader conducting a study on other women leaders. So that's one aspect that makes the Husserlian or Mustaka's, how do I say, transcendental phenomenology feature different from hermeneutic phenomenology.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arceli. Our next question is from Susan Chan. What if the participants are unable to describe their experience in detail, capturing their deep emotions?
Yeah, so true. This is our concern because as researchers, we that's our hope that our participants are able to give us rich description, right, of their experiences. Now, there may be some factors that will help us enable our participants, to provide us rich descriptions. One is the way, we researchers ask the questions. Another also is the place conducive, or is have you assured your participants of confidentiality, of privacy? Have you established trust with your participants? Another is, that's why you notice that aside from the phenomenological interview, we also introduce other sources of data. One of that is experiential descriptions in literature. And I gave you an example. Let your participants view a movie so that they may be able to resonate with the experiences of the character in the movie. There was a presentation. I attended a research conference, and there was a presentation about LGBTQ. And what the researcher did was he gave a copy. There was a novel about the main character was an LGBTQ. And he gave his participants a copy of the novel and asked them to underline lines that resonate with them, their experience. So that's one. The other also is the aesthetic portrayal or arts-based data. They may not be able to express in words. They may have challenge in doing that. So you let them capture their experience through arts. As I said, they may draw. In fact, this was in a research conference. The researcher actually was the one who danced, because when she presented, she danced, because she said that's how the participant, I didn't know how many participants danced before her to describe the experience. So she showed to us, she danced herself when she did the presentation. So there are many ways, not only through words, which we get through interview, but also to other modalities.
Thank you so much for that profound explanation. Next question is from Evan Calo and from Adventist University of the Philippines. Thank you so much, Dr. Arceli. May I ask, how should I act during the interview? Or how do I stay engaged with my interviewee without saying my own opinions or accidentally asking leading questions. I feel as though my interviewees feel uncomfortable when I am taking notes or listening to them quietly.
Yes, Ivan, I know Ivan actually is our student at AUP. Ivan, you have so many questions here, but I'll answer a few of them. So I had a dissertation advisee. After her first interview, I said, you transcribe your interview. So when she showed to me her transcription, it's like her participant's answer was one paragraph. Her 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 story, my student's story was like 1 page. So meaning the interviewer or the researcher said more about the phenomenon than the participant. So when I saw that, I said, again, next time, what I did with my next advices was I asked my advices. I served as the interviewer, and my advisee, answered the interview questions. So that just to fulfill that urge to share the story. I noticed that it's human nature. We have the urge to tell our story, so we cannot help. We forget that we are the researcher and not the participant. So that's one way. And another is do not take notes. So this is quite tricky. When I do my research, I usually have several people, team members, so that one is assigned to take the notes. The lead interviewer, just focuses on asking questions. Because if you are asking questions, you are also taking down notes. Yes, that's true. Your participant may feel uncomfortable or also distracted. Yeah? Okay, so even just see me if you have more questions. I see that we have only 2 minutes left.
Okay, thank you so much. And to those questions that are not answered, you may ask those questions. You can use our FB page to message so that our experts from QLRC will be able to answer them all. So once again, thank you, Dr. Arceli, for generously sharing your expertise with us today about hermeneutic phenomenology. We also extend our heartfelt appreciation to our webinar participants. And I can see my undergrad students. Welcome for the first time. And some of my grad students. Your presence and engagement made this session a success. And a recording, if you missed, or you can share it to your friends, classmates, colleagues. A recording of today's webinar will be available on our website, www.qlrconnect.com, within the next 48 hours. For your certificate of attendance, it is only given to active registered QLRC members. So the time frame to apply for a certificate of webinar attendance has been extended from 7 days to 14 days. When submitting a request by email to info@qlrconnect.com, participants must include their membership certificate number, which can be found at the top left of the membership certificate. Participants are no longer required to submit a photo or a screenshot. However, participants must attend the webinar for at least 30 minutes for the certificate to be issued. If you'd like to officially become the part of the Qualitative Research Connect, again, we warmly invite you to visit our website that has been shown earlier and complete the membership form. Don't miss our next webinar on March 5, 2026. It's going to be exciting because it is all about how you're going to write an abstract for the conference. And finally, I would like to introduce to you our TikTok page. Wow. Our TikTok page and our Instagram page. So give me just a little moment. Okay, there you go for our TikTok page. There. And for our Instagram, this is the QR code. So if you are in Instagram or in TikTok, you can find us there. If you are not using Facebook for any reason, then these are the other options. Okay. So thank you so much once again. And mabuhay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone joining us from different parts of the world.